Всечесні отці, вельмишановні гості, пані і панове. Називаюся Орест Реневич, перший заступник президента Українського національного музею. І від імені дирекції музею відкриваємо наші речі присвячені трагічної аварії Чорнобиля, яка тому 25 літ ударила населення держав та життя невинних людей. Чорнобиль – це катастрофа, яка стала великою раною для України. Це трагедія, яка ми через 25 літ відзначаємо і відвідуємо цілий світ з думкою про страждаючих і з молитвою, щоб це ніколи не повторилося. На жаль, майже в 25 літ річниці заіснувала подібна трагедія в Японії. I ask that we stand for a moment of silence in memory of those who suffered nuclear disaster both in Chernobyl and at the Fukushima plant in Japan.
Як українка, народжена в Україні, я якось страшенно пережила оцих 3 тижні, монтуючи цю виставку, збираючи ці фотографії. І, напевно, через мої почуття передаються усі ваші почуття, тому що те, що ми пережили 25 років тому, будучи в Чорнобилі, чи будучи в Чикаго, чи будучи будь-якій країні землі нашої, воно залишається і залишається надзвичайно і надзвичайно глибоко. І, як ви бачите, формуючи виставку, ми відштовхувалися від того, що сьогодні залишається нам на нашій землі. Ми маємо Україну велику, багату, гарну країну, розумних людей, але ми втратили цілу цивілізацію, цілу українську Атлантиду, яка сьогодні похована під цим саркофагом. Хай він умовний, але ви бачите, що на квітковій землі, де є орнамент, який показує, наскільки родючою і багатою є наша земля, похована наша культура, похована наша релігія, в певній мірі так, тому що якщо згадка про Чорнобиль перша в історії є 1137 року, і ми задумаємося те, що нам сьогодні лишилося, і після того, як 186 сіл і містечок цілком зникли з їхньою культурною спадщиною, з їхнім культурним обличчям, то ми можемо тільки молитися в тому, щоб більше ніколи того не повторилося. Рушники, само собою, символізують українську птаху. І ми завжди кажемо, рушники крилато вишиті моєю мамою, щоб ми верталися до рідної хати. Але на превеликий жаль, до Чорнобиля повертаються тільки лелеки, бо тільки вони люблять свою землю, а люди залишаються поза тою землею, яка зранена радіацією. І той чорний колір сьогодні символізує то велике таке нещастя, яке сталося над Японією, над японською землею. А черрі бласом, як ми кажемо, розквіт черешень, оскільки та країна є черешневим краєм, так само нашу з одної сторони солідарність, а з другої сторони жалобу з людьми, які першими прийшли на допомогу Україні, тоді як сталася аварія 25 років тому. Через 25 років японські міста, можливо, чекає те саме. Ми ніколи не знаємо. Тому ми сьогодні зібралися разом з вами, щоб подумати над тим. І свого роду теж символічно, хоч ніхто не в силі цього зробити, захистити землю від радіації. Тільки як? Можливо, це Орест нам розкаже, як фізик, як атомщик. Він на цій галузі відпрацював багато років. І сьогодні він може найбільше про це сказати, як це стається. Але ми знаємо, що в Чорнобилі це сталося з людської вини. Це не було цунамі, це не був землетрус. Це так побудована була радянська система, яка саме в Україні поставила, у серці України поставила реактор. І це ще один геноцид ХХ століття проти української нації. Також ви бачите в саркофазі бандуру. наш вічний символ вічної туги. Хоч ми кажемо, що ми дуже багато плачемо і маємо думи сумні, але як вона може бути сьогодні веселою про те, що 25 років тому 400 тисяч людей змушені були виїхати зі своєї землі. І тільки 2 тисячі повернулися, а на сьогоднішній день їх лишилося не більше як 300. І про це нам розкаже Віра Бей, яка об'їздила ці села, яка сьогодні, на сьогоднішній день випускниця Українського католицького університету і University of Syracuse, сьогодні нам розкаже про те, як вона їздить, як вона бачить цих людей, про що вона з ними говорить і що вони думають про нашу землю. І це, напевно, найголовніше – людський фактор, щоб зберегти себе, зберегти свою релігію і зберегти свою думку. І про це нам розкаже отець Мирон Панчук, бо кому не як не їм, свідкам того, що сьогодні відбувалося, говорити. Всій повазі про держави, в якій я народилася, яку я страшенно люблю, мусимо сказати, що держава не дбає про те, що діаспорі потрібна виставка. Вони її просто не мають, а ми її зробили. І ми сьогодні є тим вікном в Україну, це є наш музей. Дякую.
Between 1986 and 2000, over 350,000 people had to be resettled because of this accident. A lot of iodine-131 was released, which is absorbed by the thyroids. It has a half-life of about 8 days. So within a month it's gone, but unfortunately it accumulates in the thyroids, and the kids got the radiation dose in the thyroids, which caused some cancers. So this was a tragedy. This was a tragedy, and I attribute it to the fact that I think the Soviets have an extremely low regard for human life. This hubris told them that, hey, we're better than the Americans. We can make these reactors and forget about these safety systems, you know, and this will never happen to us. It's only the capitalists that are going to have this particular type of a problem. So this is what happened. Human error, design flaw in the basic design of the reactor. And inappropriate test procedure. The test procedure was appropriate if you followed it, but they didn't follow it. They broke all the rules and resulted in this horrible catastrophe. That's what happened.
Since this is the first event of during the month of April to commemorate the 21st anniversary of the Chernobyl tragedy, I'd also like to take an opportunity to personally thank the members of the Japanese community who are here, and my gratitude I ask you to extend verbally and non-verbally to all the people of Japan for the tremendous amount of work which the Japanese government, foundations and NGOs did immediately after the Chernobyl explosion by helping with the evacuation, helping with the cleanup efforts, by taking children to Japan to help them with radiation poisoning. The Japanese have a very sophisticated program for dealing with radiation poisoning, and of course for the tremendous amount of help, effort, and funding that was dedicated to the Ukrainian National Chernobyl Museum in Kyiv. Wherever you walk in the museum, you will see a reference to Japanese foundations and the Japanese government. You know, when the atomic bomb was created, human consciousness changed. You know, and Chicago is the culprit. Go to the University of Chicago, there's a monument there that is dedicated to this new nuclear age that we have entered. There's a Jungian analyst by the name of Michael Perlman who wrote a book called Hiroshima Forever. And in the initial chapters of his book, he suggests very strongly the theme that I just mentioned, that human consciousness has changed, is a new reality. Simply put, just remember when we were younger and we would have dedicated exercises at St. Nicholas School to go to the basement and to fold up in a fetus position in the event that a nuclear bomb would be dropped by our formidable enemies, the Soviet Union. As I found out later when I started doing research, my own family and my cousins in Western Ukraine were afraid of the same thing. They were afraid that Americans were going to bomb them. Our consciousness has changed. People in Chernobyl are tired of being treated as if they're in a zoo and we're looking at them from afar like they're exotic creatures. Many of my friends will ask me, well, did you see any five-legged dogs or animals that glow in the dark? Which is a terrible question, you know, because we're trained by our television sets to look for the monstrous. And I didn't encounter the monstrous. Actually, I encountered a great deal of life there. But the people that did talk began to talk about how terrible it was to be lied to. Нам набрехали. Нам сказали, що ми за 3 дні повернемося. А хіба за 3 дні наша худоба здохла? It's the whole idea of the mentality of being lied to, which is very difficult for anybody to experience. The elderly people in Chernobyl are dying, and the forest is taking it over. The forest is taking over everything. So I didn't see any five-legged dogs, but I saw a lot of trees, and I met people who wanted to do everything they could do to live. There's a story of and I have to say this in Ukrainian. Одна бабця поверталася до Чорнобиля і сказала своїй доньці таке. Казали мені, що рація, вона не казала радіація, рація йде в землю. Знаєш що, я пішла, перекопала цілий свій город, я там рації не знайшла. Thank you.
I wasn't interested so much in seeing the physical impact of Chernobyl disaster itself. I wanted to see what is the psychological impact on people who returned there. I knew that there are still living some elderly people who dared to return. And I heard some stories about them, but I wanted to witness these people who really dared, who were not afraid to come to the land that everybody considered poisoned and everybody was scared of. And so the first question was why these people returned. The second question was what was their life when they returned. The third question, which was, it's not a question, the third purpose why I actually went there was trying to record the life of these people, because as a father mentioned, these people, they don't belong to the 21st century. They maybe don't belong to the era of nuclear power. And they represent a different culture. They represent maybe an unconscious culture, I don't know, conscious, unconscious. And I was trying to record this culture because indeed these people, they will fade away very soon. And the entire layer of culture, entire layer of traditions will just disappear together with them. I don't know why it happened, but with this Chernobyl, with this alienation zone, we received sort of a reservation, of the cultural reservation. These people were not exposed, those self-settlers were not exposed to all the civilizations because they were simply alienated by the boundaries. And they were not going into the life of the cities so much because they were just living in their communities, in their abandoned communities. And you won't find it much now in a typical village outside the zone. So I went there, I saw their life, everyday life. I spent there 12 hours maybe, all the day, from 9 o'clock almost to 9 o'clock. I visited their homes. They are very welcoming, very light people, very full of light, let's say this way. That was the biggest surprise. I expected something different, and I thought these people will be more burdened. But it seems that because of their dedication to their land, first of all, everybody mentioned, we cannot abandon this land. We just couldn't abandon this land. How can you live somewhere else? You cannot breathe. We were moved, we were given new places, but this is our place where we were born, and we wanted to come back first thing. And, that's true, but Father Marin mentioned that they were not completely aware of the danger of radiation. This is what they said, this is something not tangible. You can see, you don't see fire, you don't see, the steam, so there is no danger. You go and you live there. And it was fun. You know, they were singing, they were talking to me, they were sharing. They said like, oh, we're lonely here. Come to us, like live with us, do something here. And one of the ladies, she said, I heard rumors that they want to make the boundaries of this zone like smaller, not 30 kilometers or 20 kilometers. I'm like, I would give you some land, just come here. And I will show you everything. And it's fascinating how how inviting they are. And they tell about the beauty of the land they live, this evergreen forests. It's the environment really was very clean here. I was surprised. I thought really like maybe there's some monsters. You can see foxes, you can see all the deer and other birds. It's beautiful. It's indeed beautiful, and I think that nature itself can cleanse much faster than you think. So I don't know. Maybe I will share one day on YouTube. Maybe I'll put some songs from Chernobyl. I hope I will return one day and film them more and take more pictures and write more stories about them. It's just fascinating, and for me, it's also an example of enduring tradition, of enduring culture. I just hope that younger population, younger people, younger Ukrainians can absorb at least a little bit. So this is a real blood that can give us more life. And if you have questions, just thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.
I'd like to ask Dave Tanimura from the Japanese American Service Committee to say a few words to us at this occasion. Dave?
Thank you. I'd like to start off saying thank you to the museum, to everyone here, to the Ukrainian community for asking me to come here today to speak. My name is David Musashi Tanimura, and I am a volunteer archivist at the Japanese American Service Committee here in Chicago, which is also our cultural center. Now, in Japanese, there is a word that's used for both those who died and those who survived the bombing. It's the word is hibakusha. It's literally people of the bomb. And of course, this word is a very heavy term. It's a lot of stigma. People are looked down upon. They're put out. Everyone thinks that there must be monsters. There must be something there. But as I've learned, as I've seen, I think that people of Chernobyl, people of Ukraine, they are also hibakusha. They're also victims in this way as well. And to me, having the world having survived the Cold War, we're all hibakusha, really. It's amazing that nothing more than what's happened has happened. But at the same time, the nuclear power, though we have a grasp on the science of it, we still haven't really matured to actually understand the power that we have. And that we now have the strongest force in nature, and that at times it's just the illusion that we can control it as well as we do. And it's the Ukrainians and the Japanese are the only people that actually fully understand what that cost of that power is. And so in this way, these two communities are united. Thank you very much for having me.